On.
You right?
I'm good.
He's in the big chair.
Yes.
He's all grown up, isn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
Since his Netflix special.
Yeah,
likes
a lot of things have changed. Once the special aired, I'm like fucking in that seat, motherfucker.
I get the buttons.
Yeah. So how are you, man?
Good. Who's been eating fry up in here?
It's so funny. I just said I ate eggs for breakfast, and I just said I hope he smells them when he walks in. It smells like a fart. It's bad.
Yeah, that's. Why would you like that? Why would you?
It's not good for guests, is it?
It's not good for guests. It's that he revels in being disgusting.
Right. And it's like you don't. And then he's like, "Why aren't I further in show business?" And it's like everybody thinks you're disgusting.
But even
That
the
would,
trailer,
I wasn't thinking that much, but yeah, you're probably right.
the trailer for his Netflix special. So this is the thing he chose to draw in the people, right? Who maybe don't know him, because that's what you do when you do a trailer. You don't do it for the people who know you.
Right.
You do it so. I need some more fans. Let's put this out on general release. It was. When I get a blowjob, I don't want the girl to go, "Oh, what a lovely penis." I want to go, "Oh, I wish it was black." Snot rocket on it. That was his little trailer to draw in the general public. Who's Jim Norton? Wow. I mean, unbelievable.
But I felt it was honest, though.
moment.
It's almost like I have to let them know this is as good as it's going to get, folks. And you were so great in the opening, by the way. I don't think we talked about that last time you were here because I was keeping it secret.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that a lot. You were awesome. You're
Oh, it was great. It was good.
And
Yeah.
people didn't realize you improv. What I wrote, I actually didn't show a lot of what I wrote. I showed what you improv. All that, the thing about the little peeled turtle with AIDS, the king of cum guzzling. Ricky just said that.
We're going for mainstream America.
Right.
Yeah, but it was so funny.
Yeah,
it was
great.
funnier than what I wrote. So I was happy to have that in.
Do you have Glade in America?
What's the
It's
air
like
freshener?
a thing. Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
Because it fucking stinks in here.
Yeah, do we have any for Ricky? I will request an air
It's
spray.
unbelievable.
It's bad. It's every morning. I
really
get used to it.
I mean, oh.
Jane, do you smell it? You do?
She said yes.
Okay, yeah, everybody smells it.
And she lives with me. So if she was into a room,
What ends up happening?
It
though,
really is just eggs too. Normally
Thanks.
I'll fart, but it honestly is just eggs.
It's just unbelievable that this is a radio show.
It's probably unhealthy. But what happens? You just sit in it and you stop noticing.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's it. I'm used to it now. What are we talking about today? What's going on?
I saw you on Hoda and Kathy or whoever it is. And you were talking about you wanted to be fat shamed, which was that recent? You were saying that? Is that something that?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, because I weighed myself and I've suddenly got heavier again. See, this is it, right? So I was thin till about 28. I was poor and thin, and then I got a job, and those were my eating years. And I reached a peak at about 48, and I was lying on the floor, right, in a sweat, right, and saying to Jane, I think I'm having a heart attack, right? And I thought it might be a stroke because I'd eaten 11 sausages, right?
Really?
Yeah.
That'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's it. And Jane said, "You've got to look after yourself." And I thought, yeah, I have, right? So I started working out. And I did it with just working out. You know, I didn't really stop anything. I don't eat meat anymore, but I didn't stop anything. I still took in like 2,500 calories, and I drink every night.
Is this after you were successful that you had this almost stroke?
Yeah,
Okay.
48, yeah. So, and I lost weight. I lost about 25 pounds, and that was it, right? But now I still eat and drink too much, but I physically can't work out enough the next day because I'm getting old and my joints go. So I'm steadily getting fatter. And I suppose I put 10 of the pounds back on. And so I said to people, right, this is slippery slope, fat shame me. And they were sending in tweets to me.
It's hard to keep it off because I've also lost weight, so I know
you were a fat little thing, weren't you?
I was a pig.
Oh, yeah.
I was a
Well,
pig.
Yeah, no, like a little. I'll tell you what you're like. You're like, you know, like I've always thought of you more of an amphibian or a reptile than a human. You know that, right?
Yes.
And you used to be like a fat frog. Do you know what I mean? A disgusting fat frog. And at first I thought, oh my God, this guy. I'm going to read about this guy in the next 5 years, and he's in jail for something horrendous that's never been done before. Do you know what I mean?
Like I didn't know this was humanly possible.
Yeah,
I didn't know people were capable.
Serial killers are asking him to move wings in the
Something that
prison.
creeps
Right.
even them out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and then he how did you get fit?
Same way you did. I just got sick of it, and I started eating better in the gym, and I wish I had a better reason. That was it. I just started working out and just being aware of it. But the hardest part is when you put 5 pounds back on, which everyone does. We all fucking do it. It's stopping the bleeding and going, okay, just stop. There's always that addict thinking, like, oh, fuck it, I've already blown it. Let me...
Yeah.
The hardest part is stopping.
Mine is still sort of stubbornness because I did it all without giving anything up, and that's getting harder now.
Yeah.
So, as I say, I physically can't work out like Rocky anymore because I ache, and also your metabolism goes down when you get older. It's still no excuse.
Right.
It's still simple science. If you're taking more calories than you burn off, you put on weight. It's as simple as that, right?
What are you eating? And if you're not eating meat anymore, what are you eating that's putting on weight? Like, what do you binge on?
I still eat, bread and pasta and cheese and all those things. I'm pretty healthy, I try and eat protein. I do all that, but then I have a bottle of wine every night, which is like...
That's sugar, right? A lot of sugar?
Yeah, 36 spoonfuls of sugar in a bottle of wine, apparently. So it's the craziest waste of calories.
Right.
But it's wine. It's alcohol. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Makes you feel good.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I don't care. After the second bottle of wine, I don't care that I'm fat anymore.
That's the real cure.
Exactly.
You don't look fat, though. You don't look fat. I think you look good at this weight. Seriously.
Luckily, I didn't throw away all my big black T-shirts.
The trick is to start drinking wine during the day, and then that way during the day you won't notice that you're fat either.
And you burn it off more, don't you? Because you're staggering around drunk, which burns calories. But that's
I just figured you'd be too drunk to realize that you're fat during the day because
it's the hobo plan. You drink, but you walk the streets. That burns a lot of calories.
But the hard part is
wander aimlessly to burn calories.
And shouting and swearing and kicking boxes. That uses 200 calories an hour.
You clench the core when you yell.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
when you put on a shirt that used to fit, like you start to notice it's a slow thing too. Like you put on, like I have size 1s and size 0s, and I threw out a lot of my 1s. I'm like, no, you're not going to give these to grow back into. You're going to feel it if you start fattening up
What
again.
do you mean size 1 and 0s? Of what? I thought only dresses come in size 0 and size 1 and stuff.
Well, we all have our lifestyle choices.
Like men's clothes don't come in size 0 and size 1.
No, they do. These T-shirts I wear, it's a very fancy brand. You
What?
wouldn't. But they're 1 and 0, and I wore the 0s and they fit me. But then after like a few weeks of being shitty, like after I shot my special in December, but then you shoot, you reward yourself a little, and then you start putting it on and you feel it grips the side.
Oh, yeah.
But it's real light, and it's real light, and then the next time it just grips under the titty a little bit, and it starts, and then before you know it, you have to go to size 1.
Well, if you're referring to yourself as having titties,
Yes, I am.
You know something's wrong immediately.
Right.
Can I tell you, one time I had a girl say that to me. She called my chest tits. She was being degrading, and she licked my nipple, and it drove me crazy. And she's like, "Oh, you like your titties licked?" And I went crazy. It was so
You
humiliating.
liked it because it was
It
even
was
more
so
humiliating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she called me tits.
This conversation's gone downhill pretty quickly.
It really did.
That was from 0 to 60, wasn't it? The nice thing about health. And then he went, once this girl was degrading me.
Well, that's why that's why the Netflix trailer works, because that is where it goes.
Imagine Charlie Rose just going, "Oh, that reminds me of a very funny thing that happened to me yesterday."
Yeah, if Charlie Rose starts going, it's like when you get pissed on, right?
Yeah.
Charlie, like, what are we doing?
I'll bet you he does. I'll bet you he lays down with his mouth open and goes, "Oh, make the rose grow. Make the rose grow."
Make the rose grow.
Yeah. Right, okay. That is libelous and we have no information.
Oh, it was just a guess.
Yeah, it was just you're allowed to guess.
It's
You're
Charlie
allowed to
Rose.
guess.
Charlie Rose theories.
I tell you one thing: if Charlie Rose did sue me, the funny part, it would be worth getting sued for just to have the deposition. Where
Read out in court.
He'd have to explain.
The judge is reading it out, and he suddenly says, "Mr. Norton, why are you masturbating?"
Mr. Rose,
Read it slower. Read it slower.
have you ever been urinated? No, I've never been urinated on. We'd have to call in people he slept with. It'd be well worth it.
Has he ever said to you, "Make the rose grow"?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that would be well worth it.
I think so.
But when I was sort of losing weight, I think I lost the weight. I lost 25 pounds in about 6 months, just really going for it. And it was between the first 2 Golden Globes I did, and I remember the suits I sort of had, I'd take into the sort of dry cleaners and repair shop and take an inch in. I took them in again, took another inch in. It was great. And then when I got fat again, I'm too embarrassed to take them back and go take the inch out again. You know what I mean? So they're just in my wardrobe, all these suits. It's a varying sizes of these suits.
Because now it's time to buy new suits because you're not going to have them taken out.
That's the most depressing thing about clothes.
Yeah.
When you have to buy new ones.
How good does it feel when you can go shopping and then all of a sudden things that because shopping is always a nightmare because the sizes
anyway, though.
It's humiliating.
I was happy that I was sort of fitter and things fit me and I wasn't sweating so much. But I've never really cared about that. I gave that up at 28, pretending about fashion or looking good, or I just want comfort. I'd be happy, I'm in jeans now, which is a bit of a pain to me. I'd rather be here in my pajamas. In fact, I'd rather be in a bucket full of my own shit and urine. Just being fed red wine by a nurse and then she empties the bucket. Right. Oh, that's another one of Jim's things he does.
He likes that. Yeah.
I like to be Caligula-fed wine. Have my stomach stabbed.
Like a foie gras goose, just there. Unbelievable. So yeah, that's and that's also it's so relative. You're not going to see me on one of those documentaries anytime soon, being airlifted to hospital. But do you know what I mean?
There's a big gap.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a huge gap. Yeah, I'm.
But you get addicted to the compliments too. You get addicted to people going, "Hey, you look good," and like all of a sudden that became a motivator. People who don't see you for a while. I told you when Ozzy came in, and it's the truth. I didn't think he knew who I was. I'd interviewed him 50 times, but he would never. And then he remembered me and realized I'd lost weight. That motivated me for 3 years. The fact that he recognized I lost weight.
There's always someone on Twitter that says, "Oh, you look better, fat."
Oh, please.
What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're a bit haggard now. That skin looks a bit.
Do you know how many AIDS accusations I've gotten on Twitter?
Oh, someone said that to me. Yeah, he looks ill. He
Yeah.
looks ill. Well, I can't win.
No.
What do you want?
Or the minute like you show a photo of yourself skinny. Didn't you used to be funny? You were funny when you were fat.
Yeah. Like they expect you to die of a heart attack because so you're not. That's ridiculous. It's a myth as well. It's
and they don't realize we hate ourselves as much now as before, just for different reasons.
Well,
My self-hatred
I
was
didn't
gone.
care. I didn't particularly care. I wasn't going. Oh my god! I enjoyed food more than being healthy. It's as simple as that. It was a life choice, though. It was never. I didn't have any excuses, but I don't remember being that worried about it.
What's the hardest thing for you to not eat? What's the hardest thing for you? What's the food that you're like, fuck, I can't not eat this?
I mean, because I'm in here, the first thing I thought of saying was cock. Just because you asked me it.
I
understand.
understand.
That'd be a funny answer, and I thought
Jim had the same answer.
I mean, anywhere else, that would never pop into my head to say, "Oh, it'd be funny to say cock" because it's Jim asking the question on Charlie Rose. So, Ricky, what's the one thing you can resist eating? Cock. Okay, cut there. Can we cut there?
No,
So
we
you
all
said,
know
look,
Charlie. He'd go, I hear you.
Yeah. Theories about Charlie Rose. I would love to see Hoda's face if Hoda was like, Ricky.
Stop talking about people I know and I might have to work with again.
And then you're like, well, Hoda, mainly cock.
She would probably laugh at that, though. They seem like they drink wine on their show. They're drunk half the
Cock
time.
on NBC.
No, you can't
That's
say
true.
cock unless you're talking about a male chicken.
Right.
Then you can say it.
Then, well, that's what I was talking about, Hoda. Male chicken. I don't like the female chickens. They don't taste as good.
Thank you. What was I saying?
The hardest food for
How
you
much
not
you like
to
to eat cock?
Well, the hardest food to give up is obviously it would be any alcohol. That's not strictly a food. I like savoury things. I like what everyone likes because we're mammals. I like fatty, salty foods. Do you know what I mean? Cheeses and pastas and things like that. I don't think that's to be the hardest thing. And I cut down on it.
Does your green room have a lot of stuff in it? Like on the road, I had to have pretzels taken out of my rider. Literally, my road manager would hide the pretzels.
Yeah,
they send me on
that's
binges.
the thing. That's the other thing as well. That when you graze, when there's things out, when there's like bowls of crisp out, you eat ridiculous. You eat 9 bags of crisp. You wouldn't open 9 bags of crisp and eat them at home. So I do little tricks. So I've got protein crisps now, which is they taste just like crisp, but they're like a whey. So it's not potato.
It's not as bad.
Yeah, so it's like 100 calories instead of 200. So you do little tricks like that, and I suppose I try and have a proper meal. I try and have like protein and vegetable, but I've still got the palate of a 5. Deep down, we're all the same, you know. I'd eat if someone said we've just found a way pizza isn't fattening, I'd eat pizza all day.
It's literally all I would eat.
Of course.
So good.
Is there anything better than Tasty Delight? I love giving myself a little treat. Tasty Delight is fucking rules.
What's Tasty Delight?
It's like a
Frozen yogurt.
froyo.
There's lots of things better than frozen
No,
yogurt.
there's not.
Yeah. There are.
There's many things better than
Yeah.
frozen
Ice cream
yogurt.
ball. I can't have ice cream. It's too much.
Ice cream. Oh, puddings are great. Yeah, I
Pudding
know.
rules.
Yeah, I know. Pudding rules. Yeah, I always try to work what the euphemism is when I'm talking to him. Like pudding rules. That's
Where are we going
No,
here?
we're in prison. What would that mean? Who wants pudding means something else in gym talk. Charlie Rose pops his head around the corner. Did someone say pudding?
When Charlie Rose and Jim get together, you got to be careful what you say yes to.
Hey, how's your tour going, by the way?
Brilliant.
Ricky's
Best
promoting
one.
the Humanity World Tour, and RickyGervais.com. Most of it is sold out across the
Yeah,
globe.
we're putting 2 new dates on, and they'll be the last 2 dates. Another one in New York in October, which goes on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. And also another one at the Dolby Theatre, the third one at the Dolby Theatre.
In Los Angeles, right?
In LA, yeah, exactly. And that goes on sale at 10 a.m. in LA this Friday. So they're the last 2 to go on. And yeah, pretty much everything else is sold out straight away.
And I've heard it's an amazing tour. I've read amazing reviews. Everyone is saying it's great. It's really going well.
It's gone the best of any tour I've ever done, I think. And I've enjoyed it more. I really enjoy being a stand-up now. I think I'm a stand-up for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I think, I know that sounds odd, but I had 7 years off, so the anticipation was good. I worked on it for a long time and thought about it for a long time, so it is, I think, objectively better. But I think more it's about the attitude and the way I approached it. My first 4, I felt that I wrote them. I wrote like an Edinburgh show, I wrote a themed show, and then I went out and practiced it, almost like an actor playing a stand-up.
Yeah,
I feel
Like they were more like one-man shows than
they were
stand-up
more like one-man
gigs.
shows. And this, I've stripped it down. It's me. I walk out in a pair of jeans and a black t-shirt, and I just talk to them. And I did more warm-ups than I ever did before, and I did it by walking out and just talking to them. I had the title, and I had some things to talk to them, and I made sure that there were no expectations. That I haven't got anything. And I just talked. And honestly, it just feels better. And I think I can call myself a stand-up for the first time.
Well, I think the thing with you, I saw you years ago do stand-up, and what was impressive about it is you were very comfortable and natural on stage. You, like a lot of guys who just start stand-up or who are only a few years in, have a certain performance way, and you were much more natural than I was, even way farther along in. So you had that going for you as a comic. You were very comfortable just talking to an audience.
I've always felt that, though. I've always felt that I could talk to even if it was like a crowd of mates in a pub, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always done it. I don't think it was natural. I think that I'd been practicing my art for 40 years without realising it was a job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And also when I approached stand-up, my mission statement was to try and be as funny as you are in the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't want it to be too tricksy, or I played a slight persona, because I always do that anyway. I do that. We do that here, So
Yeah.
it was saying the wrong thing for comic effect, or being naughty, or trying to get people to laugh at things they didn't know they could. And
Yeah.
I've always doubted taboo for that reason, because I think it's more exciting.
Sure.
You want to take the audience to a place it hasn't been before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and get them to laugh at things they didn't think they would enjoy.
Exactly, and this show is all about that. It's all about, there are no bad subjects for jokes. It depends what the joke is. We've talked about this a lot. And I talk about the most taboo subjects, and I discuss them, and then give an example of the joke. And by the end, they're cracking up, and then knowing they get it. They sort of get, oh yeah. If you start off with a joke in that subject, it's, oh, why has he done that? Because they don't know where you're coming from. And that's the other thing about this tour. People know me now, so they know what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely.
a friend, like a mate knows you don't mean it. These 5,000 strangers every night know I don't mean it.
Right.
Do you know? So
They know what they're in for. They know what
they
to
know what they're in
expect.
for, and they love it. And it's almost like they're going, "Oh, he's always done this," but I don't think we quite got it before.
Right. We can't get. You're one of the few A-list celebrities. I'm going to say A-list celebrities who doesn't back off when you're criticized for a joke, which I love.
Yeah.
You never back off when you're joking about something and people are like, I don't like that. You basically tell them, all right, well, then don't follow me. You don't have to like it. Or if they're insulting, you're insulted. Like, you handle it really well.
Well, I think that's because I can justify it. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these comedians who goes, "Oh, it was just a joke," because I don't really do that. I think it has to stand up on its own comedic legs. And I talk about this, that, offence is often caused when people mistake the subject of a joke with the target. They don't look at the joke. They've been told this ridiculous dogma that some subjects shouldn't be joked about, which is the nonsense. And I get asked, is there anything you won't joke about? And I think, well, you're a journalist. Is there anything you won't write about?
Right.
It depends what you write. And it's funny, because whenever I've done a joke about a really contentious subject and it's discussed on the radio the next day, I'm going, but you're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about it because they assume I'm coming it from the wrong direction. They assume I'm punching down, and they assume I'm making fun of whatever the victim is in this joke, which isn't true. Because a joke about something, it doesn't have to be pro or anti. It can be either. It can be neither. It can punch nowhere. It can be a pun.
Right.
It doesn't. You have to take every single joke on its merit.
And I recently got, and again, you can't, I've talked about this on the show before, but I was recently on Twitter, I did a Caitlyn Jenner joke, which wasn't even nasty, and I was accused by a bunch of people of being transphobic.
Right. This is at least 15 minutes in my new... this is 15 minutes in my new stand-up about...
And not even about that. I talk about it in my special. I got accused of being transphobic, and it was like, wow, you really have no idea who you're talking about, do you?
Well, exactly. I mean, they picked on the wrong person there. But I did a joke at the Golden Globes, and they were saying it was transphobic. And I said, why? And they said it was about a trans person. I said, well, that's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is racist.
Right.
It depends what the joke is. It wasn't transphobic at all. The joke I told at the Golden Globes, I came out, and I said, all the actors are looking at me all nervously, brilliant. And I said, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner.
That's
obviously.
funny.
And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, and what a year she's had, became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. So the subject of that joke is clearly stereotypes.
And by the way, like, the thing that people should, even if they're going to take umbrage with something, it should be like, wait a minute, wasn't that a thing? Somebody died in that car accident that he's referencing. Yeah. But nobody even picks up on that.
No, I discuss it. I say, let's not forget the target of the joke is a celebrity killing someone in their car.
Yeah. And they also said you dead named, Travis reminded me that you dead named just because you said Bruce. I talk about that as well, dead naming, which is ever saying that her old name and that she used to be a man. Yeah. And then I say, but she was. And then I do the thing about she was in the Olympic Games, and I act out, and so, and I say, and I was second, my second crime was saying that he'd changed, because they say, people, that she hasn't changed, that she's always identified as a woman, and so that, she had gender realignment. And I discuss it in the live. I discuss all the criticisms of me, and then I say my piece, because I think it can be funny to deconstruct, particularly when you're the butt of the joke, or you're, and so I always try and keep it fair. I don't ever do a sleight of hand where I say something that's a lie or to make myself look better in a joke. Right. I think that's really important. I think that, and then once you've done your best and you've explained it well, people are still going to make their own mind. They don't have to like it. They don't even have to get it. But someone not getting your joke isn't your problem. It's theirs. Right. They always say, go ahead. They always say, like, well, you should tell a joke that your joke should be better. And say, why is there never any responsibility on the idiot with ears that took it wrong?
Brilliant.
Why is it always my fault?
Brilliant. That's brilliant. Why isn't it your responsibility to get the fucking joke? Yeah. That's a great... And the other thing I get is whenever, like in the press, a joke of mine is discussed as being offensive, I don't mind that at all. But when they get the fucking joke wrong, that drives me mad. I go, well, no, that's not the fucking joke I said. That isn't a good joke. A joke should be perfect. Every word matters. It's like a cryptic crossword clue. Every word matters. It's a little piece of poetry. Right? So if you get one of those things wrong, you can fuck the whole joke.
So instead you have a news anchor paraphrasing, going, well, what he was pretty much saying was, and you're like, no,
yeah,
no.
Well, I did a joke years ago. I say I hate drink driving. I think it's terrible. I grew up when it wasn't a stigma. Now it's terrible. And by the way, I don't even drive. So this joke's everyone knows. I say I did it once. I took the car out and I was drunk one Christmas. But I learnt my lesson because I nearly killed an old lady. And then I go, in the end, I didn't kill her. In the end, I just raped her. So the joke there is clearly the magic act with nearly killed.
It's a misdirection.
So they think I swerved and nearly killed her, but what I actually meant were I attacked her so much that she nearly died from horrendous, and it turns out worse, right?
Yeah.
Much worse.
So they're discussing that joke as terrible, right? So in the paper, they tell the joke as this. I went out and I nearly killed an old lady. In the end, I didn't kill her. I just raped her. So they don't tell anything about the drink driving bit.
The whole setup is gone.
So they just think, well, he's a maniac. He said what? He went out and nearly killed an old lady but just raped her? Well, that's
not
mental.
even a joke.
That's not even a fucking joke. I know, exactly.
He's just confessing to crimes on stage.
Yeah.
Arrest him.
Yeah.
That really made me laugh. That was really fucking
It's
funny.
clever. It's and I say everything matters. And live, I even do the mime of the steering wheel, and I nearly killed an old lady. And so that's planted firmly in their head. And then, the surprise at the end,
It's the ultimate misdirection. And I hate to break it down like that, but that's really what sometimes it's a misdirection where I didn't even do this. And then what you've done is more barbaric or worse. And that's what the joke isn't about a rape. It's about doing something even worse where you're trying to admonish yourself. I didn't do anything wrong. And then you've done something worse.
Well, that's exactly it. And also, we've discussed this before when people say, "Oh, you think rape's funny?" They mean jokes about rape, but they've done that little sleight of hand on purpose to make you back yourself into a corner. Like, do you think rape's funny? The answer's no.
Of course not.
No one finds fucking rape funny. And I do this live as well. I say not even rapists find rape funny. There's been never a case of someone giving evidence going, it was dark, he was wearing a ski mask and he was giggling. So, but they try and the answer is, again, it depends on the joke. I really break it down. It's so much fun. It's such a great platform to be able to put your side forward and discuss humour in a funny way. And so you're taking them along with you all the way. You're explaining. They're hearing every word from your side, and then it takes a long time to explain what humour is to someone or freedom of speech it's.
We've talked about it on the show. It's crazy that we've gotten to a point where you have to show how the trick is done. Like, as a comedian, you have to pull the curtain back. There can't be any more fourth wall. Like, you have to take them behind the scenes and say, "This is what I did. This is my intention. This is why I put this here." Like, you shouldn't have to.
Well, no, you shouldn't have to. But this is the reason is the more terrible and emotive the subject, the harder it is to get over the hump about a joke about it.
Right.
Yeah.
We can joke about, people joke about murder and people get it. They go, murder, which is horrendous, murder. But they can't take that personally because they haven't personally been murdered. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you do something that touches someone or a group of people and it's, it's very, very emotive, it's hard for them to get over that. The number of times people have seen my stand-up and I've had one complaint. I did the first time I played Madison Square Garden, I got a complaint from a Jewish society saying, we loved the show, we loved all the... we were, however, unhappy about a routine about Anne Frank. And they tell me, I said, but you got the jokes about famine and cancer and AIDS, and you got those. I said, I'm doing the same thing with her as I did with those things. I'm saying the wrong thing. And they went, oh, yes, okay, we understand it. And sometimes you do need that. And I don't begrudge people because they're not attuned to it. We think about these things every day. A 30-second joke, we've probably put 3 hours work into it. Do you know what I mean? Or thought about it, or introspected, so we are presenting them with a finished item, but that's the tip of the iceberg. And so sometimes they do have to get over there. It's hard to, by definition, to see your own blind spot, because everyone's got their thing they don't want to joke about. People say things, are you ever offended by things? I go, I'm offended every day. I'm offended by loads of things. I'm not immune to being offended.
You just don't want a penalty imposed.
Well,
if you're
exactly,
offended.
You avoid the things you're offended by.
Yeah, that's the other thing about today. People think that they have the right, because they don't want to hear something bad, that it's their right to shut you up, as opposed to it's their right not to listen. And that's the confusion as well.
I think going back to your point that you originally made about Ricky being one of the only people on his level to stand up for himself, right? To not apologize for everything,
not be cowed by it,
and to stick by what you say. Do you think that that's partly, or I'd say fully, because you're aware of your ability to create, meaning you're not really beholden to anything?
Well,
because
it's not,
you're
no, it's
you
not
can
that I
create
think,
your own material.
No, it's not that I think I'm bulletproof or I don't care or they can't do anything about it. Although all those things are true. No. If I'm not breaking the law and they're not coming to my house, who cares? It's virtual,
Right.
you know. It's not that. It's that I'm confident in that I've done right. I don't think I've done a really bad thing and I can get away with it. Fuck you. I think no, I've done a right thing here. I can stand. I justify every one of my jokes as an okay thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying, because that doesn't make sense. I can't say, yeah, I do bad things, but so what? I wouldn't do them if I thought they were bad things. So I'm disagreeing with them that what I've done is a bad thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And
But
I try and get across to people that jokes about a bad thing isn't the same as the actual bad thing. It's not even condoning the bad thing. It could be anti the bad thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have satire and irony. So
you do see so many people, though, and I think that's what you're talking about, Jim, who will, even though you can tell they don't believe it, go, at first this wasn't my intention, but I saw it from your perspective, and the apologies come out, and they're just trying to get the bad story away.
Yeah, well, so I think sometimes it depends. Some people are just trolls. Some people just want to ruin your day. They get in the way. They jump in the way of a bullet and say, "Why are you shooting at me?"
Yeah,
and
people
say,
love to be martyrs.
Oh, they think
Yeah.
everything's personal. I don't even know they're following me. I don't know these people. I'm just tweeting, and they take it personally. They go, "Why are you tweeting?" I'm not tweeting you. You've come to my house, knocked on my door, and said, "Why are you talking to me?" Well, I'm not. So again, people, and it's hard because people think that the world revolves around them.
Do you know there's been people who've said things on Twitter that annoyed me a lot?
Yeah, of course.
And there are people who've made statements publicly, and I've stopped myself from responding because I realize, and I really practice. I'm like, they're not talking to you. You're not following them.
Yeah, you called
Yeah.
them.
What the fuck business is it of mine what they say on Twitter? I've actually, I get the instinct to want to tell someone to go fuck themselves because of what they say, but I've backed off on doing it. I'm like, they weren't talking to me.
I only get that when they've atted me and they've misunderstood something
Right.
I've said, and
Yeah.
it's aggressive, and
Yeah.
and they make assumptions. They make assumptions about you that are wrong, and then they go, hypocrite. I go, well, no, the assumption's wrong. So are you going to take back the hypocrite bit now?
Right.
But the best thing is to ignore it, because you're right. It's one idiot in his basement.
And it
who's
goes
not-
away. It does go away in a
Isn't
couple
that
days.
amazing that if you ignore it, it consumes you,
course.
and then it just disappears.
It's virtual.
Yeah.
It's virtual. It's like a bad dream. As I say, if they're not coming to your house and you haven't broken the law, forget it.
Were you surprised when you posted that photo? Because you'll post photos of the big game hunters and stuff that will hunt and say sarcastic things about them. But like recently,
Oh,
you
the one
posted
with
that
the
photo
giraffe.
of the giraffe,
Right.
and a bunch of people thought you were posting a photo of yourself
Yeah.
killing
So
a
there's this-
giraffe and bragging
So
about it.
there's this fat idiot in a fucking pith helmet, right, with a rifle, standing on a giraffe's neck, right, grinning, right, and I said, "Yay! I just shot a slow-moving 14-foot herbivore with a high velocity rifle, right?" And then and most people got it, but most people were going, "Why'd you do that?" No, it's not me, is it? It's not me.
Because it was like a wide shot.
I know, yeah.
People were seriously like, "That's not cool." Right?
And
Yeah,
like you
should've-
would actually phrase it that way if it was you. Like, who would say, like, I've just shot a slow-moving herbivore? You would never say that if it was you.
No, I know. And also, the other thing is, and I looked at the people that object and they don't follow me, so they don't
Right.
know anything about me. So it's obviously been RT'd onto their
On their
timeline.
timelines.
So I just ignore it.
Yeah.
Ignore it. But,
But you do, and then it shocks you to realize that maybe there's some people on Twitter that don't know what the word herbivore means.
well, that's the other thing as well. Stupidity. I can't get over. I can't get over how stupid some people are. Willfully, I mean ignorance. That people are happy with their anger. And
Yeah.
it's based
Yeah.
on nothing. It's based on a falsehood. And that's the thing about stupid people. They're very confident because they don't know they're stupid.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's that effect? The something Kruger effect, that more stupid, the more arrogant you are because you've built a sort of a delusionary wall around yourself to protect your thoughts and ideas. And it's fascinating that stupid people are very arrogant.
Yeah.
Because they don't know any better.
Because they miss the bit of the brain that tells them they're wrong.
Right.
So it's self sort of.
So there's
Yeah, is there
nothing
any-
telling me I'm wrong. I must be right.
You must be right, and everyone's wrong because I know I'm right.
Right.
I know I'm right because I'm so smart.
The
I'm so
narcissist.
stupid. I don't know that I'm fucking stupid.
Right.
So it's a lovely. It's so there's
They are the most hateable people too. They have a blinding narcissism,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're stupid, and they're so hateable. But the joy in it is, and here's the little asterisk that makes me smile: is they're miserable because they don't know why everybody hates them,
Yeah.
and that's kind of fun. Like, because they're not going to stop doing what they're doing, so they're going to continue self-destructing and
Yeah, I
continue
think so.
self-sabotaging.
I think that if I see someone hateful or stupid on Twitter, all I do is I look down their timeline about what they're tweeting about, and what's in their bio, and I think about retweeting it, and some I do, but then I start feeling sorry for them immediately.
Yeah.
I think, oh my God, this guy's got no life at all. Why
This
would
is
I,
all he does.
Why would I ruin his day more by retweeting him? And it's sort of, it's like, I get very Buddhist. Do you know what I mean? Because they are losers. Yeah,
They are, but what's better than a video? Boxer confronts troll.
I love it. I honestly, I went down the YouTube wormhole of instant karma and bully gets owned. I know. I watched those. There's someone bloke being. There's one that's at a party, and it's like they're like a bunch of posh kids, like 20-year-olds or something. And his one's got a guy. And he's going, "Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, motherfucker. Come at me. And he's doing this. They go, "What are you doing?" He's going, "Come at me." He goes, "Fuck." And the bloke just pokes him in the throat, and he goes, "Sorry."
There's nothing better than seeing a little kid with a giant backpack on getting shoved, and then he just cold cocks him and knocks the guy out flat.
I always love the guy that when the bully picks on like a nerd who's like a black belt.
Yeah.
He's like a ninja.
He drops the knapsack and he knows
Yeah.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's good. And drunks
Sorry.
get knocked out so easily.
Easy.
They're unconscious on their feet. It's great. Yeah.
It's scary to watch, though, because you realize how many people out there, like, could knock you out. Like, when a drunk is going, like, come on, and you're like, that guy would frighten me if I was out. And then
Yeah.
he gets knocked out easily. I'm like, I don't even know how I'd bluff my way out of something. Because I would
Yeah.
try to be, loud and bluff my way out of it, but I'd wind up getting knocked out. So I just don't talk shit.
Well, that's the answer, isn't it? Don't talk shit. But these people again, they don't think like that. And alcohol, obviously, if you're drunk, there's nothing you can do about it.
Do you get hecklers at any point? I mean, I'll deal with them once in a while, but it's fun heckles. They're not even mean heckles. They'll say things that they like.
The thing is, I go out. I've got 2 spotlights in my face. There's 5,000 people there. If someone shouts something, I didn't hear what he said.
Right.
So I ignore it, and then people think, oh, he's ignoring heckles.
Have you heard?
Right.
I've had
And
stuff.
again, it's usually Ricky. It's not a heckle.
Right.
It's not,
Right.
No, I don't get heckles, and they're silent all the way through. Because you create that culture where I'm. It's one way conversation. I never invited that. I don't do crowd work. I never grew up in that bear garden where it was fun to get a drunk and put him
Right.
to shame. Because you don't put him to shame. You don't put him to shame. He's drunk. They're happy to be part of the show often.
They think they're
You
helping.
can destroy a heckler and they come at the bar afterwards and say, oh, that was great. We did it. No, we didn't do it. No,
Yeah.
you were an idiot.
Yeah, I smashed you, and that was not part of it.
I
Yeah.
don't want to give anyone the satisfaction of being part of this show.
Sometimes things happen though. You get so zoned out, you don't. And I've told this story before too. But I was at Caroline's one time, and after the show, they're like, "Did you see what happened?" I'm like, "No." And a guy had taken out his dick and pissed on the floor in the middle of my set, and he was just drunk. He wasn't even being. He was literally sitting there.
He wasn't even being sexy for you.
Yeah, no, not at all. He didn't even try to get my attention. He just didn't want to. He was enjoying the show so much.
Jim
He
was
whizzed on the floor.
Jim was upset because he didn't get to go out and lick up the puddle.
No, well, I wasn't going to say that, but I did have a picture next to the puddle because they told me they threw him out. It was a whole thing. I saw none of it on stage, and I have a photo with the puddle. I took a photo with it just so it was a real thing.
That's amazing.
Sometimes things happen that you have no idea they're happening in the audience.
Yeah, no, exactly. And,
Fights.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I was happy though. I was really honored
Did a
that somebody
fight
liked
happen
my
or a piss happened?
Piss that somebody enjoys you that much they don't want to leave.
Right,
How
that's
great
true.
is that?
I see what you
That's
mean.
true.
He didn't want to go to the toilet, so he just
took it out.
He got himself arrested.
Because he
arrested him.
Because he couldn't miss one joke.
Yeah, one joke.
Not one joke.
All right, maybe he was just in a blackout and had no idea where he was. That's probably more what
That's
it was.
great. Put it on your CV.
Hey, was Mel Gibson mad at you, by the way? I don't know if I've seen you since then. We might have asked you about that when we interviewed you last
the
time.
town
Was he
hall.
pissed off at you or no?
I don't know. Maybe. I think he was coming into a. I think it was difficult for him because, and I don't think he wanted to be there, but he had a film out. It was. He's had a rough 10 years. I think he wants to forget it. So
Sure.
I think he did his best to
Laugh it off.
laugh it off. But no, I think I heard in an interview that he was, I don't know if he said that comically. That I wanted to kill him. I think people don't want to be reminded of stupid things they've done. That's all.
Not in that world. Comedians for the rest of their lives can be shit on for something because for some reason we can handle it. But a lot of times a guy like that who's not used to being made fun of or not used to ridicule.
Yeah,
Mel
exactly.
Gibson.
Of course. Well, he had a privileged position. The fact that he's, the way he spoke to the police officer, thinking that how dare you arrest me? Yeah. Also, I didn't pick up on the worst things he's done. The tape with the girlfriend, Jesus, I didn't even. That's too dark for me to bring up. Do you know what I mean?
We literally did a year on the radio on those tapes.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I was doing sort of light entertainment ribbing.
Yeah.
Oh, we all get drunk. Well, yeah, but we don't say to our girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like I didn't even go to the darkest points of his.
Yeah.
So it's but yeah, no one wants to be the butt of a joke, even if it's gentle teasing, because some people get they think they're above it. They think that no one has a right to make fun of me. I've won an Oscar.
And
it's
by the
just
way,
not fucking true.
We've talked about the David Brent movie, which was Life on the Road, which was so good.
Oh, cheers.
The album I listened to with no irony. Like I just genuinely love.
If you don't
the
listen to
album.
the lyrics, it's actually a pretty good.
Even the lyrics are fine. Like even the lyrics are. I mean, there's
On
a bit
some of them.
Some of the lyrics
occasionally.
Some of them, they go, don't make fun of the disabled.
Yeah, that's-
when you go, this is an odd song for Bruce to be singing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's
But Slough-
Oh, it's quite Smithsy though, isn't it? It's quite Morrissey. Yeah. Please don't make fun of the disabled. Yeah, that could be a Smith song. I think.
Right.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, look, they were obviously. Like you listen to them, and there might be one line where you're like, "Wow, the person singing this seriously is a dope." Like he'll say one line, where you're like, "Oof." But
Yeah.
like,
but Brent means it exactly.
he
So it's
means
a
it.
sincere album. He thinks it's great. He thinks he's Bruce, John Cougar Mellencamp. He thinks he's Bowie.
Slough?
Slough.
It's
Slough,
amazing.
beautiful
Slough,
song.
you also you probably because my family lived in England for a few years when I was growing up, and my dad after when you performed Slough for us live, my dad called me and he was like, "Do you remember going to Slough?" And I was like, "No, I don't remember." And he was like, "There is nothing going on in Slough.
It's sort of like a
Nothing."
concrete sort of jungle, red brick jungle. I think it was built as a sort of town to have working class people, moved out of London and start up like industry and stuff. It
But
was
he's like, "This is not this. Nobody would write a song about."
Well, that's
Slough.
the joke, It's a really romantic, beautiful, verdant sort of Radiohead sort of Vaughan Williams song about being close to Windsor, but the property's less. And he's accidentally dissing it,
But Dave-
or the critics say it's cold and lifeless and grey or whatever.
Yeah.
That's my favorite line in the whole thing. Don't believe what the critics say.
The critics.
The Slough critics.
I know. He still hasn't, forgiven Sir John Betjeman for writing about it in the 50s.
That's what's so brilliant about it, though, is that David Brent would hear somebody perform this beautiful song that's an ode to their town, whether it's New York City or any of these big cities, and
That's
he's like, yeah, no, my city the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you choose the music? By the way, sorry. Do you choose the music for extras and for the audio?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the theme songs are amazing.
Yeah, in fact, Jane played me the Handbags and Glad Rags years before. I thought it was a great track by Rod Stewart. We couldn't afford that version. We had to re-record it with a sound alike.
Wait, was that a radio guy who did your version? Who sang the version you guys have? Big George Wembley, right?
That's right. He sort of produced it, and we got a singer who could do a Rod Stewart sort of
It's so good.
impression. Yeah, it was re-recorded. Yeah, and then and it's funny because it was either that or Sitting by Cat Stevens, which I loved, and we couldn't afford that either, or we didn't get permission for that. But then we got permission to use Tea for the Tillerman, which
was
one
so
of
good,
the first
actually,
albums
yeah.
I ever bought, and I just think it just worked.
Well, you
Coming
use
in.
a small portion of the songs too, and an odd portion, like the Office starts with this just in the middle of the song. It's so good.
Dun,
man.
dun, dun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's so melancholy and Yeah.
Your version is just Rod Stewart's version. I prefer the version you have. I've heard his.
Right. Cheers.
I mean, his is very good, but I actually prefer the one you have. Maybe just because I'm used to it and I associate it with the show.
It's just a little bit sort of sadder, isn't it? It's sort of like just
Especially when you're seeing a guy with a fucking with a hat that has like tooth holders for beer and a radio station thing on it, having his shoe thrown over a roof. You're like, oh,
false fun, just false fun, just trying to get through your day until you die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's it, isn't it? That's what most people. That's what we all do. We try and make exciting days more frequent than the most boring days,
but
then we die.
It's still the best portrayal of that guy, of that person who wants to be funny, who wants to be, and yet it's believable. Like there's too many people that do like fake awkwardness and it feels fake. Like, oh no, that's awkward. You're like, shut up. You know you're good looking, but that feels like a real guy.
Yeah. Well, I think what people realised was that it was an affectionate look at David Brent by the end. After sort of 10 years, I think they realised that, well, actually, we're all a bit like that. That he's all of us. We all do that. And I think that's why people identify with it. It wasn't just them laughing at an idiot. It was deep down, they were going, I've done that.
Yeah, I want to give him a hug. Let me find the idiot at my work and just give him a hug. Like, I'm sorry, this
He's
is
getting
your life.
filmed. I got away with it.
Right.
I do that every day, and I get away with it because I'm not being filmed.
Right.
You know, that's the thing.
The guy when you're reading the paper in season 2 and just this fucking awful speech, and the guy's phone rings, and you're like, turn it off. If you don't listen, you're not going to enjoy it. It's like, what an asshole.
Well, I got that right. So when we lived in a,
If you don't listen, you're not going to be.
You're going to enjoy it.
It's this disguising this tension. Like he still wants everybody to have a good time.
Right.
But he's so tense that it's not happening.
I saw
under
that
his
happen,
terms.
right? Well, about 1985, we went to a little local fete in this. We lived in an area called King's Cross, and it was a little local fete, and it was a shitty little thing, right? And they had nothing there, tombola, and it was the mums making the thing, and there was like loads of like toddlers and 6-year-olds running around, and then they all got them down. There was probably about 15 kids sitting down, like 15 6-year-olds, right? And this old guy, his name was, I won't say his name because he must be dead now. Oh, it doesn't matter, right? Anyway, he had a little Punch and Judy show and he was about 75. And he's obviously done this all his life. And he came out and he was going, oh, Mr. Punch, right? And there's kids talking. And at one point, you saw Mr. Punch just slam down and he came out and he goes, if you're not going to listen, you're not going to enjoy it. Just shout at these 6-year-olds. And all the parents went, and he went back in. And I just thought, well, I can't watch him now.
No,
I've just seen, and that's the thing about a heckle. If you're too harsh on someone with a heckle, you've ruined the show
For them.
because if a
the audience.
comedian really gets, I've seen comedians go you fucking idiot, like that, and I think, well, that's it now. Now you've got to go back to doing your funny little act. Or we've just seen that you want to stab this guy in the audience. And sometimes we do,
That's a great point. There's a weird thing when you get yelled at. You have to gauge immediately what level do I hit them back at. And if somebody yells at the front row and they yell something, you have to repeat what they say so everyone knows what you're addressing.
I've made that mistake before.
And then
I've just answered them. I've just said, with 2 legs. And everyone goes, what? I go, he said, yeah.
But once in a while, you get a dream heckle.
Yeah.
Like I was at the Cellar one night having an amazing set on a Saturday, and this shitty bachelorette party was in the back.
Oh.
And it was a good show. And everyone knew it was a good show. And they yelled something, which was basically an invitation to be barbaric because they yelled something so unnecessary and so confrontational.
Yeah.
So I knew I had free range to really to say whatever I want. Once in a while you get one of those, but it's horrible when they just yell it from
and
the
if
front.
they say something that's funny or sweet or complimentary, you just say thank you very much.
Yeah.
You don't. There's no need to, and I never have stock put downs. I mean, I remember the first time I saw a stock put down, I thought, oh, that was great. Then I heard 9 other people do the same thing. And you think, what? Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're relying on no one ever been to a comedy club before if you're doing those.
Yeah.
And you've got to gauge everything. But I as I say, if you're playing a theatre and they've paid $100 to come and see you, they're not there to heckle.
Right.
They're there to to be entertained. So, but I don't do those clubs. I never did really. But I don't really do those clubs.
The stock put down. Sorry, Sam. The stock put downs. Whoever first came up with them is a genius.
Yeah.
Whoever first said to somebody loud in the audience, "Hey, where'd you learn to whisper in a helicopter?"
Yeah.
That was
That's
a
great.
comic genius. Whoever said that
Yeah.
first.
And the other one was annoying, isn't it? You come up for a conversation and someone builds a comedy club around you. Really good.
Hey, you're bothering me while I'm working. Do I bother you when you're working? Do I get down in the corner and slap the dicks out of your mouth?
Exactly.
Whoever said that the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
But only the first time.
Only the first
only
guy.
the first
Somebody
time.
said it first.
Yeah.
If you were the heckler, they wouldn't know how true it was.
Well, I don't get paid for it.
He pays for it.
How did you know that? How the hell did you know that?
Exactly. I just say thank you, madam, and I walk away.
Madam, has Jim ever said thank you, madam, to anyone? What scenario is it that Jim Norton said thank you, madam? Madam!
I'll tell you, there's a pile of something on his chest.
And I'm not a madam.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice cock, madam.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, but that all depends on your perspective on things.
I know,
That's a
yeah.
madam.
That's a great bumper sticker to sell.
It's annoying if I'm called transphobic, I have to argue with it. If you call transphobic, you just send him a photograph and go, does this look like I'm transphobic?
It was the craziest
look at my
accusation
phone.
ever.
yeah. Just look at the first 3 pictures on my phone.
Scroll to the left and keep going.
Look at this video. Look at that little guy there in the corner. Does he look transphobic? Does that guy look at the guy with his mouth full? Does that look transphobic to you?
No, look at him looking up with gratitude in his face. That's not transphobia.
He's had his pudding.
That's joy.
He's had his pudding.
That's it. He's had his
Jesus,
pudding.
This is unbelievable. This is going out on air.
That's
Well
it.
done, guys.
Did you ever
Well done, guys. You've carved out such a
niche?
A niche, yeah.
Is that the word? Did you
Yeah.
ever catch any shit from young comics that were jealous that you didn't have to go through the club system to achieve kind of being well respected by legendary comics?
I don't know. I don't think they'd have done it to my face.
Right.
I don't think comics come up and go, I'm jealous of you.
Because that's like young comics. All they want is for like Norton or Louis C.K. or Chris Rock or any of these guys to be like, yeah, we can speak on a level that we can relate to each other as comedians.
Well, I think there's a myth about there's rules of what makes you a good comedian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's 1,000 ways to become a good comic, and it's such a huge field. I mean, it used to annoy me whenever it had like the top 100 comedians of all time, they were all stand-ups. And I thought, well, hold on. What about these guys who are doing amazing stuff and they don't do stand up?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
There's comedy isn't just stand up. It's one string to a bow. So I know why that happens though, because it's the purest form and you can't hide behind anything and it's just you up there. Less and less though nowadays, because I find out more and more comedians have writers. You know, which is
Right. Rodney Dangerfield had writers. He was one of the
Right,
greatest.
exactly. Well, they're old comics. They used to do jokes, didn't they? So we had that. Like in the 80s when it came in. As far as I can work out, I think the new wave comedians, they were lumped together because they were probably not racist, not sexist. Right, but actually, I think the big difference between old comics and new comics is that the new comics wrote their own material, and they told the truth. They wrote about their own lives, as opposed to that shared pool. Like in the 50s and 60s and 70s, the biggest comics there might be 10 big comics in Britain, and they all shared jokes.
Really?
They just all shared jokes. The northern, and they were all racist and sexist and my wife jokes, and they were comics, and it was they all had a thing. Some were weird, some were rude, some were Cockney, some were Scousers, some were but they were basically just telling real old-fashioned jokes, and then the new comics came out and they deconstructed it and did other things, and nowadays it's rare for me to see a comedian go out there and just tell one-liners.
Right.
They're great, I don't do that, but now I think I want to get a piece of that person's life.
But you don't use any writers?
No.
Yeah.
No. Never have. Which because also I want people to know everything I say is true. If I'm saying it's true, it's the truth. And I think when I see a comedian going, oh, isn't it weird, ladies and gentlemen, when you're on the bus You haven't been on a bus. Wait a minute, that's not yours. You know, I was going through customs. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. One of your writers was. And I think the bottom falls out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
For me, I don't write one-liners or surreal jokes. And the ones I have, I've put them in the set and they go well, but I think, maybe they think the other jokes are lies. So I've dropped them. So I don't do surreal. I did a joke a couple of times, and I didn't like the way it's set. It
feels fraudulent. Sometimes saying certain things does. You're right. It does feel like I don't believe that.
Yeah, and if he lied that time, is this joke a lie as well? And I like it to be all based in truth. I wrote a joke once. But I had a bit of bad news today. Actually, my friend committed suicide. He just went upstairs and swallowed everything in the bathroom cabinet. Choked on a tampon. So that's so not me.
It's so funny,
and
though.
I just thought, that's not me.
Right, it's just a joke.
Yeah, and I don't do that. I can do it, you know, but I thought, for the next two jokes, are they going, is there a sucker punch coming? Is there a gag here?
Right.
And I want it to be, I want to tell a story. That's what I want to do over an hour. Mm-hmm. It's got a slight narrative almost, my stuff, you know, and it deconstructs and it. I'm always examining stuff. It's analytical. It's almost like a little lecture. And that's what I do, and I think that's what I'm good at.
Do you know who I started watching too? And again, another Ozzy Osbourne recommendation. He was one of his favorite comics as a kid, so of course I went on YouTube. Tommy Cooper, who I've talked about before. He was a really funny dude.
He did what he did better than anyone's ever done before. He was a buffoon, a big guy who'd come out and he'd do jokes like, I went to the doctor. I said, it hurts me when I do that. And he'd lift his arm up. And the doctor said, don't do it then. It was things like that.
I've got a real pain in my chest. And then he was his jacket and pulls out a window pane. Like little
just
dumb
really,
shit.
really dumb
punny
things. And he'd do magic tricks that always went wrong until the end. So it was just, he was playing like, it was quite sort of postmodern because he was playing a person who was terrible at comedy.
Right.
He was very funny.
It was great, wasn't it? It was almost like a really modern character act. But he was, you know, just a buffoon. So,
those guys were also very, very hamstrung by content. You know, like Lenny Bruce kicked through by talking about religion and Catholicism. But those guys weren't allowed to talk about religion. They couldn't talk about sex. So a lot of those guys who did kind of intermingle jokes, they had such limited range of what was acceptable to talk about in a club.
Sure.
So a lot of times I think that kind of
and that was
hurt
by
them.
law though, wasn't it? They could, you know, the obscenity laws and stuff.
Or it would ruin your career. Like Jackie Mason, the myth, Ed Sullivan thought that he did the fuck you sign on his show, but he didn't. And he hurt Jackie's career badly. Like for years he had him banned from television because he thought Jackie Mason had done an obscene gesture, which he apparently didn't do. I haven't seen the set. But, you know, like if somebody back then...
Yeah, I suppose, but it still happens now. Like disgraced comedians are ones that work for the BBC that have got a handcuffs deal, you know, and then they lose their job, and it's like really embarrassing. Whereas I think if you do your own thing and you're sort of pretty bulletproof, if you're not beholden to anyone, then you know you go where. In fact, you know, I think if you're doing stand-up and doing the sort of stuff I do, a scandal about a terrible joke sells tickets.
Sure, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
No one's going to go, because those people aren't coming to my shows anyway.
Right.
People who care about blasphemy laws or obscenity laws, they're not buying a ticket to my show. So it's totally irrelevant to me. I think it was the days where you were sort of owned. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and
well, you could be hurt by one person not liking you. Could hurt you.
Right.
Now the biggest broadcaster in the world is the internet anyway. So if you can't get 2 minutes on Conan or Letterman, so what? You know, there's 800 million people on Twitter, 1.5 billion people on Facebook. You know, you find your niche and you work it. How many people do you want coming to your show? You can I think people sort of live and die by the sword nowadays. It's a lot fairer, even with all this stifling, these lies and this political correctness and that. Even with all that, there's the truth will out. You will live and die by your own morality and you know if you don't break the law.
I'm going to come see you this Sunday. I think we have to break, right?
We do have to
Travis said
break.
we have to break.
Yep.
But Ricky, you're always amazing. And just to promote everything we need to promote, Humanity World Tour, which is sold out everywhere in the world except a new show in New York City going on sale. It's in October. It's going on sale this Friday, 10 a.m.
Exactly, New York time.
And L.A., 10 a.m. L.A. time for October to do a third show.
At the Dolby.
At the Dolby Theater.
The home of the Oscars.
Oh, that's where that is.
Yeah, that's the only chance I'll ever get to be on that stage.
Well, please, Mr. Showbiz, I didn't even know where it was. I'm like, really? RickyGervais.com for tickets. These shows will sell out. I believe I'm coming to see you this Sunday. You're in the New York?
Great, yeah.
And I'm doing my own hour tonight at the Fat Black Pussycat around the corner from the Comedy Cellar. I'm working out the new hour if you want to come.
Where's that? What's that? I know the Comedy Cellar. That's like the only. I think I know that and Caroline's and one other place in New York.
There's two Comedy Cellars. There was one on West.
Is it one upstairs and one downstairs? What's that?
The Village Underground is another Comedy Cellar. It's
is
the
it?
same comedians, and upstairs is the Village Underground.
I want to do that just for the fun of it.
You should. It's where Colin works out his material. It seats about 100 people, and it's an amazing space. They do new joke there Monday, Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Colin will usually work out his new hour, his one-man show. He's not there tonight, so I
love Colin. I don't think I heard this myth of it was the only person that Jerry Seinfeld followed, and I'd heard him. I spoke to him on this show, and I wasn't quite aware of him because I'm from England. And then I saw him on the comedian, that Jerry Seinfeld's thing, and he's great, isn't he?
Have you seen his shows, his Netflix specials?
No.
Unconstitutional,
He's amazing.
New York
He's
Story.
great, isn't he?
Amazing.
He's fucking brilliant. It annoys me.
I've been rediscovering like people that I was really late. I just got the end of Patrice. And I've gone back and seen everything he's ever done. That's on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's amazing. There's no one like him. He'd come out, he'd walk out, and he'd start with the most contentious thing, and then work backwards.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And then slowly, as the thing progressed, winning more and more and more
There's
people.
There's never been bravery like that.
Yeah,
to
knock everybody out first and then try to get them back.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and I'd heard of him, but I'd never seen any Mitch Hedberg stuff as well.
Yeah, Mitch was so great.
Yeah.
Great. Got that. Just
brilliant writer, really funny performer. You should check, obviously, but you should see Colin, man. His stuff is so... You know what the thing about Colin is? He never, ever... And as a comedian, it's inspirational because he never takes a shortcut to a joke. And when you watch it... I forget, years ago, I was on stage at the Cellar doing some dog shit joke. It was some cheap, and he walked through the audience to use the bathroom, and I just hear him go, good writing, lazy. And I'm like, oh, God, you're right. That joke stunk. But when you watch him, you're like, this is a guy really never, ever doing what he thinks they want. He's truly, I hate to say it because it sounds corny and poetic, but he's a real artist, and you watch him and you're like, it's inspirational.
And I like his face, which is an odd thing to say with someone who's so good, but
yeah, he looks like Bert Lahr. He's smackable.
I like his attitude. I do like his attitude, yeah. I like, do you know Doug Stanhope as well?
I love Doug, yeah.
He's the one that's pushing stuff at the moment.
He's
and
amazing.
Really doing it from the gut, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot cleverer than it looks like. It looks like a rant, but I've been watching him for a few years. And yourself, Jim's coming along, ain't he?
I don't know.
He's getting there.
Oh, he's getting shy now.
Yeah, I'm not good at compliments. I'd rather talk about Colin and Doug.
His last Netflix special was like Jim's was on another level. Like,
well, thanks.
It was really good.
Oh, come on, guys.
Let's mix it with it. Okay, Jim is such a good comedian. He deserves to be tied down and shat upon by a jailer, by a blind jailer.
Yeah, that's how good he is.
Listen, I want to apologize to anybody who has nearsighted or farsighted for that joke.
I just meant the guy shitting on him didn't know how ugly the thing that he was shitting on was. That's what I meant. Who would shit on anything that fucking ugly?
Oh,
just hideous.
It's fucking
okay, I didn't realize that. All right, it's pro-jail or anti-jail. All right, I accept that.
Hideous puddle of humanity is getting shat upon.
I'm not even worth the man shit. Okay, no, I understand that.
Clean that mess up. You mean throw that thing away and leave the shit? No, clean the shit off that thing. You've left the shit.
That thing.
You've thrown the thing away. We're meant to keep the thing.
Here's the problem. Jim, Jim puts down a garbage bag and lays on top of it to get shit on, and then they just pick the garbage bag up and tie it up, throw it out. Oh, God. Just the whole thing is happening.
It's not entirely true.
Not entirely true. What's the break? What's the break for? We just have to.
Do we have to break to do a read?
We
We'll do the read, and then I can go. You can. What do you do then? What do we do then?
We're only on the air until about 10 of 11.
You get you get people.
Oh, but it's sponsored.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can?
But wait. So who listens to this show? Right.
The people at home.
Look, but people who are, mobile phones. We want that little lizard who likes getting shat upon to get people to buy our phone. Who fucking advertises on this show?
Well, do you have? Here's we have to do a live read. I can do the read now. We can talk for another few minutes. We don't have to break.
Do it. I'm interested in who wants you to be
should.
there.
It's actually a product that I like, which
Okay, good.
I would say that.
Oh, listen, I'm not trying to embarrass you about doing product
you
placement,
can.
but that's fine.
It's a product that he likes. It's a laxative.
But I'm very interested on what CEO of what company says we need Jim Norton to do this. That's what.
Well, a lot of times I'll sit here and I'll say, "When's the last time you watched your home movies?" I'm not even doing the read yet.
Right.
There's the music. Now, if you're like most Americans, there's a box in your closet of videotapes, film reels, and photos that don't ever get watched. Worse, they're deteriorating. Introducing Legacy Box. It's a simple and affordable way to get your recorded moments digitally preserved on a DVD or thumb drive. Here's how it works. You simply load Legacy Box with your old tapes, films, pictures, and audio recordings and send it back. I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing that with all of my videos. But if you have nice ones of your family.
Jim's got an old film reel that involves a stunt with a Coke bottle.
Yeah. And then his auntie's wedding kicks back in.
It's me dressed like Fatty Arbuckle and then the wedding.
People sitting like, I can't masturbate to this.
Now you send these back in, and you get them back in a couple of weeks on a DVD or a convenient thumb drive, ready to watch, share, and relive, hopefully. Legacy Box takes care of everything and provides updates at every step of the process. That's why over 250,000 families have used them. Huffington Post, Parents Magazine, USA Today, and The View, they're all talking about Legacy Box. And for a limited time, go to legacybox.com/rock to get 40% off your order. Legacybox.com/rock for 40% off. And I really do want to use this because I have a bunch of tapes.
So you got all your videos that you don't want to just put in the bin, all your favourite films on sort of video or DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
And you send them off, and they digitally record them. And well, they probably don't. They probably give you the digital record, the actual digital record of all the things that you've done.
Yeah, on a DVD.
Or a thumb drive.
Or a thumb drive or something like that. This way you have it and you can save it. And it's legacybox.com/rock for 40% off.
And do they mean? But they also mean movies, not just your home movies. They
No,
mean,
you can't do movies like they
Buy your
won't
own
do it
movies.
for
Right.
copyright stuff.
So it's all your home movies and things like that you've ever. I
Yes.
see.
So
I
like if
found
you
a-
have it on like a reel to reel or something,
Right.
You can send it off and then you can actually watch it and you got it on a thumb drive. You put it in your computer.
I'll tell you what I
Like
found
it.
yesterday. A bunch of sets from I used to get upset at the Comedy Cellar. They videotape everything, and I have a bunch of videotapes. This is back from like 2005 when I was warming up or 2006. I was warming up for my HBO special, and there's a bunch of videotapes I found yesterday, and I'm too lazy to go through them. But a part of me thought of this, so like, maybe I'll fucking send them in and get them done, just so I can zip through them on a thumb drive, and then see if I ever want to watch these or if there's anything I can do with them.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. When I see like a documentary about a guy that I've never heard of, and they've got all this home footage, and I think I'm so jealous. I've got none of that.
Are there videos of you from when you were a kid? There's none
no,
of me.
Nothing. Nothing at all. It's like 2000 before 2015, nothing. Now, a billion things every day of people filming themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all crap.
Everything.
And yet there's nothing of me as a kid. Or no, I don't just mean me.
Just
but
photos, I'm sure, right? Photos.
Well, the odd photo, yeah, in a yeah, but probably 50. I've got 50 of me in the bath from yesterday.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
Yeah, no, we just had a kid, and it's like everything is photographed. Every single
Are you
day there's
videotaping a
photos.
lot?
Every single day there's video.
Yeah.
Oh, let's video the first time he meets the dog. Let's video when he goes here. Oh, let's video him. Look, he's cooing. Video it. Like there is so much.
Well,
footage.
apparently, I don't know if this is true or how they even worked it out, but I think it was 2014 or 2015 when everyone had a phone. There were more photos taken than the rest of history.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
and that's presumably doubled, trebled. It's crazy, isn't
and
it?
most of them are probably awful. Selfie
they're
photos,
unnecessary.
meaningless
Well, you
photos.
take 25, don't you, of your duck face and tweet one, and then that's how many. How does that count up on the internet with the retweets?
Right.
You know what I mean? Every photo, there's a million.
Right.
Of those photos,
Right.
every single photo is it's
copied.
It's ridiculous.
Do you
It's
like
cra-
pictures of yourself? Because it's very funny. Your Instagram and your Twitter are so funny because it's purposely horrible photos of you in the tub.
Yeah.
Where you take photos of your face all,
Yeah.
but you look dead, and they're
Yeah.
great photos. So do you like when someone says, "Okay, give me a sexy look"? Are you comfortable?
No, that's embarrassing.
It is, right?
I can't do that. I've never particularly. Wow. After the age of 35, I've never particularly liked it. But as a comedian, you've got to be careful because irony doesn't come across. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you don't want people to think, you think you're sexy.
That's
Oh, right. Well, I was laughing at you, but you think you look a bit like Johnny Depp in that picture, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's the worst.
No,
for
it was a
comedian.
joke. No, it wasn't a joke. You
of
thought a
course.
little bit of you
And
would-
everyone's vain, but no. I suppose I don't just do it as a defence mechanism. When I get a picture of me looking like a fat bloated corpse, honestly, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
I've got pictures that I'm so proud. I say, Jane, look at this. Look what I did. She goes, yeah, brilliant. And I can't believe it. I've found different angles where my stomach looks like 50 times bigger, where you turn the camera upside down, I just love it.
I never thought there's a more unflattering angle.
I
There's
know.
an angle that's even less flattering.
And then there's a little bit of alchemy where you do it wrong, and you're in the bath, and there's a little bit of foam that looks like spunk coming out your nose or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it looks so disgusting. It's just it's
Or some of us take them where it's spunk and you tell them what it's foam. But the self-awareness, it's so funny. The self-awareness of going, look, I don't want anyone to think that I think I'm sexy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the death knell of a comedian when you think you're sexy. It's like no one likes you for that reason. They like you because you're funny. So it's funny to think, like when comedians get into that, like I'm handsome, people are like, oh, fuck yourself.
Yeah, but then there's another part of you when you're public eye and you don't want to give anyone the satisfaction of you accidentally looking shit.
Yep.
So, you wear shades and a hat. If you know what I mean, you don't want it to, close in on your bald spot because I'm not worried about it, but I hate them thinking they've got me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, what are you doing hiding in the bushes and trying to get me in my fucking pajamas? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So you still go, oh, well, I've got to, yeah, okay, I'll put a hat on because I haven't done it. It's all those things that are annoying that you have to have a little bit of pride in yourself just because I don't want to give them satisfaction. And those bath pics, if someone does a bad picture of me, I go, that's nothing, look at this.
Look what I did.
Dude,
Look what I
did.
showed you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look pretty good there.
Well, you own it. When you own something, unless it's completely horrible, but if you own things, it's harder for people to get you on them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
This is how I look.
This is my dick. This
Absolutely.
says Jim. This is my horrible postulating reptilian barbed penis.
Right.
Right. So when you see it in private and you scream, what the fuck are you doing? I've already shown you what I've got now.
I'm owning this.
I'm owning this.
Hey, look, you knew it dripped when I
was-
sent you the picture.
He was actually excited by that. He didn't like us saying he's a great stand-up, but
No.
he actually giggled with joy when I said reptilian cock.
Right. Let's go back to my dick. Don't worry about my stand-up. Don't worry about my stand-up.
I'll be honest. I have a couple of good photos of my dick, which I'm happy to send out.
Okay.
A lot of bad ones, but a couple of real gems that really are deceptive.
A good thing to do, right, as well, is a little tip, right? With your penis, right? You draw two little eyes, right, on a bit of paper and cut those out, like two little eyes, right? Put those on the side. Turn your penis 90 degrees, right?
Okay.
So the little mouth bit is like a little fish's mouth. And
Right.
you
Sure.
open
Oh,
it-
sure.
You open and shut that, and the little eyes, it looks like a little fish. So
It's just a little fun. It's like a puppet. That's the new puppet show.
yeah. And you dress it up, and tin foil, it's RoboCop, a little puppet theatre, the fishy.
Yeah.
It comes. Yeah, that's why I was fired from my children's editor.
That's yeah. There you go. There's the misdirection. Oh, child molesting isn't funny. No, it was misdirection. Don't you get it? It didn't really work with kids.
That's what that puppeteer was doing when he told the kids, if you don't listen, you're not going to enjoy this.
I still remember that. Just a poor 75-year-old bloke screaming at some 6-year-olds.
I could hear where real stuff from The Office came from. I could literally watch a 6-hour documentary on that.
When you find out
nothing makes me happy.
a real person did that?
That's where that comes from.
The Brent speech when he's trying to win over the Swindon lot.
Yeah.
That came from me watching open mic competition. And this guy was so bad and nervous, I hated it. And there was comics with me that were loving it.
Yeah.
I was going, that's a human being up there.
You don't like watching a guy eat his balls?
I can't do it.
It's literally Jim's favorite thing to watch.
I can't do it. I can't
enjoy it
watch
too.
other people being embarrassed. I don't mind I don't get embarrassed. I want to soak it up. I want to save them. If someone socially, if they do a bad joke and no one laughs and they go red, I want to take. Do you know what I mean? I want
You
to
wanna
take on
rescue
their
them,
pain.
right? Yeah.
I want to take on. I'll fall over. I'll go. I've shot myself.
Yeah.
You know, I can't stand other people being uncomfortable too close to me.
That's-
do you know what I mean?
How do you feel about that, Jim?
You love it, don't you?
I understand his instinct for that, though. I feel the same way, but I also relish in it. Like, ugh, good.
Yeah.
I do in retrospect, and then I fictionalise it, and then I can live through it, and it's great. So that David Brent thing was I saw an open mic spot. He came out and he was shaking, so the audience went quiet. His hand was shaking on the mic, and he came out and he went, you know, when you're in a cab, and he went, oh no, right, and he got out a bit of paper from his back pocket and went, oh. No, right. So I was in a cab, right, and he starts doing the joke, and he goes wrong, and he goes, right, and it was silence, and it was just silence, right. People not looking at him, right, and then he said, "I thought I was going on last."
Oh no! It all got so real.
It just got so and he went quiet, and then he went, I was meant to do 7 minutes, but I'm just going to go off now. Right?
Why would you admit to it?
Right, and then he ended it, and everyone was quiet, right? And then he said, right, oh, if I never do this again, you'll know why. And then he went, cheers, and they sort of clapped that. And
Politely.
it was the worst, and I thought, oh, I'll have that. I'll have that. I'll have David Brent doing an open mic spot in the office trying to win over people who didn't want to.
That exacerbated sound, that... Like that to
I
me
know.
is the best sound.
But real comics do it. I've been so many like proper comics, and they're doing well. And then they say you didn't like that. They loved. I played there last week, and they absolutely loved that gag.
Oh, so they'll do it on stage.
I want to go. Why are you telling them off for not liking a joke you did last week? It's really. The audience doesn't want to be reminded that you do that joke all the time anyway.
Right, they're supposed to live in this illusion that,
But
like...
why are you telling off the audience? They didn't. It's your fault.
I want you all to know there's nothing wrong with that joke.
Although-
people do laugh at that joke. There's nothing wrong.
know.
It's like, you
I
need
know.
to take a look at yourselves.
Yeah.
I was working out a joke recently, and I again, this Tuesday night workout I do where you just work out the hour,
Oh,
you
I've
have
come
paper
down
with
one
you.
day. Yeah.
And I worked out this joke, and it was bombing every time I did it, and I loved the joke. And I finally asked the audience, because again, it's that type of thing. It's 100 people, you're holding
Oh,
paper.
that's great. No, I'd love to do that.
I'm
yeah.
like, that joke, what is it with that joke? Do you understand? What does it sound like I'm saying? And somebody told me what it sounds like I'm saying in the joke.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that's
Oh.
not even what I was saying.
Oh,
I'm
really?
delivering it wrong.
Oh,
the joke,
right.
it's not a great joke. I loved it
because you're stupid. Speech impediment. Speech impediment.
Speech impediment. Yeah.
I pronunciate worms.
Yeah. You talk like you've got a cock in your mouth. So you didn't realise that they were actually hearing a completely different sentence.
It was just not clear what I was trying to
that's
say.
amazing. Yeah, it can be anything.
And it wasn't even a great joke. It just made me so happy to say it, and I'm so bummed it didn't work. But it was funny when they told me.
Well, I love the idea that you can pay to go see Jim perform. Like, you think you're going to see a Jim Norton show, and you end up workshopping the routine.
And it's an
Like, you're
hour.
part
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
thing.
most of it is actually good. But that, by the way, that scene where you did that scene, I got to talk about one more thing too, because before I forget about watching the making of The Office, where you're holding that paper and you sit down, and he goes, David Brent, and you go, whatever, and you said whatever, like that was the most real.
Yeah.
Like I'm
He's
just
got a
in
bigger
shell-shocked response. That was exactly how
the weight
someone
of
is
the
after
world
a
is on
bad
his shoulders.
set.
Not only is he just bombed, and he's thinking why, that he's been filmed and his nemesis is talking to him.
And he's charming.
It's just I like going through the worst day ever. I do like what's the worst day ever.
And I was
know?
very jealous, by the way, watching the making of the Office Christmas special. I love Jimmy Carr. I didn't know you guys went back that far. He was driving you around, correct?
Because he lived in Slough.
Is that why? It was
Wow.
you, him, and Stephen Merchant, I think, in
Yeah,
his car. I'm
and
like, what the
Jimmy-
fuck, Jimmy
Wow.
Carr? How does he know these guys?
Yeah, he lived in Slough. I think he still lived in Slough at that point when we were doing it. And
Was
so,
he not
but-
as famous back then as he is now? I guess that was 2002, around there,
no,
right?
it was coming through the ranks. We started out about the same time, actually.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I did my first Edinburgh show with Jimmy.
He's a guy that, by the way, does kind of like very jokey punchlines, but it works for him. It's kind of who he is.
Yeah, he does. He does great jokes, and he's very prolific. And one of the reasons I don't is because it's so labour intensive to do an hour of one-liners and all of them be as good as the next, which is nearly impossible. It's honestly, I can make a joke work 10 minutes, and deconstruct it, and I've got a momentum. Whereas if you do a one-liner and you get a laugh, and that took 3 seconds, you got to start from scratch.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
all
You've
over.
got another one-liner that lasts 3 seconds. Then you got another. I go, Jesus!
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and sometimes, unless
Yeah.
they're really amazing, and there's got, I think the best one-liner have got a bit of character with it as well. Like, so if you go to Stephen Wright and Emo Phillips, they have got a little bit of momentum because you know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So you start getting it before they open their mouth almost. So there is a little bit of narrative built in. And Stu Francis, I don't know if you know Stuart Francis,
No.
Canadian guy. Again, he's got that. But yeah, some one-liners, comics. The one-liner works as well if you read them as well as they do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost they've taken themselves out of the equation. They've done the syntax and the semantics, and then they've handed over the joke to the world.
And it's funny if you just read it as well.
And you can't and you can't own it because it's a pun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to protect that sort of thing. But hats off to them. I write one-liner a month and I don't use it. Do you know what I mean? When I do, what I do like doing is a special occasion one-liners because they can never be used again. So I really enjoy writing one-liners for the Golden Globes because it's about the occasion.
Sure.
It's about that time that I can't use it again really.
Yeah.
So that's fun for me.
And if you're
I
gonna
still
do
like the art.
something-
I love the art form. I do love the art form. Can I do it? But a one-liner is a little story in the shortest possible number of words.
Yeah.
That's what a one-liner is really.
They're hard to do well. I
Yeah, they
admire
are.
guys
No,
that
they
can do
really
them.
are.
Jimmy Carr does. He'll do an hour and 18 of he fucking hammers. I mean, he kills harder than most comics, and it's all funny. It's really
Yeah.
amazing to watch.
Yeah,
But
it really is.
it must. You're right. It must be. It must be so labour intensive.
It's how your mind works. We have to wrap up, by the way. They're gonna shut us off. I think our show actually ends, right, Travis?
Yes.
So yeah, Travis just said yes into the. So let me plug Ricky properly because our show is ending. The Humanity World Tour. If you want to see Ricky, which we are going on Sunday, in October, he's back here at Madison Square Garden. October the 10th, this Friday morning. Tickets go on sale for October, whenever it is.
Yeah, 10 a.m. this Friday.
10 a.m.
in New
sorry.
York. Yeah,
In October, and then in LA in October. This Friday in LA, 10 a.m.
Exactly.
And if you guys want, I'm doing my hour tonight. Fat Black Pussycat 7 p.m. show, and the Chip Chipperson podcast is up, and our podcast goes up today, right?
Yes, it went up this morning. If you search Jim Norton and Sam Roberts on iTunes or SoundCloud, you can hear Maria Bamford and Chris Gethard on our show.
Will this be a podcast?
It
This will be
yeah.
a podcast.
Let's plug this.
Yeah, this will eventually be a podcast.
This is dynamite. People are already going, when can I listen to this again?
They are.
When can I hear this hour and a half of drivel and Jim being shat upon by various people?
Well, it'll be on demand later today.
Thank you, Ricky. Always the best.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.